Let's go back to the 1960s, a more innocent time with simple pleasures. And what could be more fun than playing board games with your chums? We take a look at vintage board games from that time, marketed directly to girls. Back then, playthings were gender-specific, but I bet there were lots of boys that loved playing these games too. In fact, we'll start in 1959 with the Cherry Ames nursing game made by Parker Brothers in Canada. Based on the Cherry Ames series of books by Helen Wells, each player takes on the guise of a student nurse, going through many phases of hospital training to finally win the treasured cap and become a fully fledged nurse. Woohoo! The players traveled around the board, which represented different hospital training areas, such as training school, medical, Dr. Joe's laboratory, orthopedics, children's ward, emergency, nursery, operating room, and surgical. It's worth noticing that all the areas have enter and exit arrows, except for operating room, which has exit arrows only. Yikes.
Nurse dolls were all the rage at the time. One of the most popular was Miss Curity. She even had her own magazine. Build Lily even got in on the act, although she was more interested in hair and makeup than bedside manner.
The senior prom game was made by Warren Built-Right Games. It was not dated, but judging from the artwork, it looks like early 1960s. Players were promised all the thrills of a social season and a chance to be a prom queen. Quite a claim for a piece of cardboard. Miss Popularity, the true American teen game, was made by Transagram in 1961. Apparently, it was the game all girls loved to play, with the automatic answer phone, a state-of-the-art innovation in those days. The object of the game was for each player to fill their bulletin boards with the highest value cards, to get the most votes and win the Miss Popularity Loving Cup. Mattel's Barbie game, Queen of the Prom, was made from 1960 onwards. Players travel around the board having fun shopping, doing school activities, and dating to get money. Earning money from dating? That concept was known as something else in my day. Thus, armed with cash, players could buy a formal dress, such as Silk and Flame, for $35, Let's Dance for $40, Solo in the Spotlight for $50, or Enchanted Evening for $65. Each of these came complete with a free boyfriend. Ken, Bob, Tom, or Poindexter. Wow, free boyfriends. Please tell me where Barbie went shopping.
Players who enjoyed the game could buy doll-sized versions of the fashions and dress their own Barbie dolls at pocket money prices, as opposed to the high dollar amounts shown in the game. As further inducement, the dolls and outfits were well advertised on TV at the time. Vintage Barbie shows off Enchanted Evening. A little face powder always gives a sophisticated finish. Getting hot in Solo in the spotlight, she should have used the face powder again. A green version of Let's Dance. And lastly, Silk and Flame, plus the red flare coat and hat.
Buoyed by their success, in 1963, Mattel introduced a new version of the Queen of the Prom game. This time, the large profile headshot of Ponytail Barbie on the box lid was replaced with Bubble Cut Barbie, together with Ken, Midge, and Skipper. A clever marketing ploy to remind customers of other dolls in the lineup. The boyfriends Ken, Poindexter, and Tom remained. Although Ken had a dye job and was now a blonde, but Bob was replaced with the redhead Alan. The game had the same 4 club scholarships, but now came with actual metal pins, made of real plastic, as well as rings for once you were going steady. The 4 new prom gowns you could purchase were Silk and Flame for $35. This was in fact the party date fashion. Enchanted Evening was on clearance, having been reduced in price to $40. Senior Prom was $50 and Sophisticated Lady on offer at $65. Built on the popularity of Ideal's gigantic Patti Playpal doll, the company made the Patti Playpal game in 1961. Each player was confusingly named Patti. The winner was the Patti who was able to obtain all 6 rooms, one of each color, for her own dollhouse. A cutthroat game of high drama and excitement. Can that be right? I'm only reading the script.
Patti Playpal was manufactured by Ideal from 1959 until 1962. She was 35 inches tall, the height of a 3-year-old, and her owners were encouraged to share their clothes with her. Made of lightweight plastic, Patti was easy to carry about, despite her size.
Barbie's Keys to Fame game by Mattel from 1963 proclaimed, "Your dream career comes true Very likely a touch of overselling there. A player needed to complete as many careers as possible by spinning the keys to fame dial and winning the matching key to fame of that career. Just like real life. Careers included astronaut, ballerina, movie star, nurse, stewardess, mother, fashion designer, or teacher. All the fashions shown in the illustrations were actual outfits made for Barbie.
Charlotte Johnson was the first clothing designer for Barbie dolls at Mattel. She designed Barbie's iconic black and white zebra-striped swimsuit and continued to shape Barbie's aesthetic for her first 2 decades. Johnson's designs were influenced by French haute couture, Jackie Kennedy's style, and the trends of the American middle class. She was also responsible for overseeing the establishment of Barbie's clothing production in Japan.
In the interest of research, we conducted a poll amongst collectors to ask which 1960s career would be the top choice for their dolls. Can you guess the career that came out on top? You might be surprised, or maybe not.
Hello and welcome on board. Your safety is very important to us, so please watch this short video carefully. Even if you fly often or are reading a magazine, we would really appreciate your full attention.
Who doesn't love a doll in uniform? Since the start of civil aviation, doll manufacturers have been creating pint-sized cabin crew. Stewardess dolls have remained popular throughout the years, often vintage-styled to remind us of the golden age of aviation, when air travel was available only to the moneyed few. Here's some rarely seen cabin crew from the amazing collection of Fokke Hoekman, a Dutch designer based in Berlin. He has some Stewardess Steffi treasures, a Suki Tressy from Bella in Germany, airline promotional dolls, vintage Barbie of course, as well as an original Poupée de Carousel, and the Dutch Willy Wildebras.
Please check that all your cabin baggage is securely stowed away in the overhead locker or under the seat in front of you, as the aisles and exits must be completely clear and tidy. If you plan to sleep, please fasten your seatbelt over your blanket. Your life jacket is located under or beside your seat. There is a light and a whistle for attracting attention, and who doesn't love attention? Please remove your high heels before using the slide rafts.
The highly sought-after Braniff air hostess gift set by Marx. The futuristic Pucci-designed uniforms even included space-age Perspex helmets. Dawn's friend Jessica, as a stewardess by Topper Toys. She walks, has real eyelashes, and a case of green leg. 1960s American characters Mary Makeup, Tressy's friend, wears a Cindy uniform. Also from the 60s, a Breck Stewardess doll. Mary Makeup again, but this time in her own uniform. Love the saucy cutout panels. Looking very much Aer Lingus, but actually a 1968 TNT Francie, in a Cindy uniform from Spain. Malibu Barbie from 1974, wearing Mattel's United Airlines outfit. The flight bag belongs to the American Airlines outfit, number 2895. A modern doll with a 60s vibe, Integrity Toys Poppy Parker, To the Fair, box doll. A trio of Monsieur Z. All by Integrity Toys. The Stewardess, a Silkstone Barbie fashion model collection box doll. Those heels are ideal for in-flight food service and economy. A small Hong Kong Lily, kitted out and ready to take flight. From the House of Nisbet, 3 BOAC dolls, the forerunner to British Airways, from 1968. 2 stewardesses and a pilot. A 1962 blonde bubblecut Barbie in the American Airlines stewardess outfit. An American Girl Barbie from 1966, in the Pan Am Airways uniform. A lightweight blown vinyl 1960s doll, of unknown provenance. And another cheaply made 1960s flight attendant. From Ideal Toys in the 1950s, Tony, dressed as a stewardess. A fashion royalty doll models a Lily Lalka vintage-style stewardess outfit, by Julian Kalinowski. F&B's Brenda Starr takes to the skies in her airport outfit. From Robert Tonner, the Pan Am Shelley stewardess. Ashton Drake's Champagne Flight, Jean. Bubbly anyone? And finally, Blue Sky Thinking. A collection from DAEC's Monty and Vivian embark on a grand European tour. Looks like the pair had to work their passage by engaging as cabin crew. Chalks away and bon voyage in the new economy. Chicken or beef? In this case it's plastic with a delicious glass of cotton wool milk. An in-flight meal tray from the 1960s Mary Makeup Stewardess doll.
We hope you have enjoyed the in-flight entertainment. We are now preparing to land. In case you need to use the toilets, you're too late. I have just locked them. Your trash. sir.
In the 60s, there were board games based on TV shows, including Dr. Kildare, Ben Casey, in this one, The Nurse's Game, made by Ideal in 1963. As the illustrated lid explained, it was based on the true-to-life television drama on CBS. The object of the game was to be the first player to graduate from nursing school. The Tammy Game by Ideal came out in 1963. There was also a Tammy card game. The object of the game was to rearrange your original given Tammy cards into a 3-card run and a 4-card run by keeping useful cards and discarding the not needed cards. Sorry, I fell asleep there. A game of gin rummy, anyone?
The Tammy doll was loosely based on the character in the 1957 movie, Tammy and the Bachelor. She was designed to have a more wholesome image than the market leader, Barbie. The doll was produced in 3 versions, first in 1962 with straight legs, then with bendable legs in 1964, and finally in 1965 as an older-looking doll, grown-up Tammy. There was also an African-American version of the doll.
The Lowell Toy Company made the Tressy Career Girl game. It was not dated, but we guess it was from 1963, the year of Tressy's debut. The object of the game was to choose a career and be the first successful career girl on the inner board. And who wouldn't want that? On the outer area, players collected cards showing things necessary to help complete their career, such as schooling, wardrobe, rich sugar daddy, robbing a bank, etc. I made the last 2 up. The artwork on the game board shows Tressy in generic clothing, not actual produced outfits.
Tressy was trademarked in 1963 as a doll with hair that grows by the American Toy Company of New York. The doll featured a long swatch of hair that could be pulled out of the top of the doll's head. A novel feature designed to give Tressy an edge in the marketplace, but nobody could beat the runaway success of the Barbie doll.
The Patti Duke game from 1964 was made by Milton Bradley and based on the 60s TV series featuring Patti Duke as twin cousins. The playing board showed Patti and Kathy doing fun activities such as washing dishes. Seriously? Watching TV, dating, studying, horseback riding, swimming, dancing, and playing records. Washing dishes? Players moved around the board trying to land on squares to pick a green card showing Patti and Kathy doing the same thing as a red Patti, or Kathy card that was held in their own hand, and then to discard both. The first to discard all their cards was the winner. Good gracious, you'll need a degree in advanced mathematics to understand the rules of this game. Mattel made the Skipper game in 1964. Apparently, this game was only suitable for anyone named Skipper, as the instructions note that 2 to 4 skippers can play. Each skipper got to buy her own horse, all named Prince. I'm detecting a distinct lack of imagination with the ideas for names in this game. The aim was to win a blue ribbon at the horse show and be the first to reach the best in show space at the center of the board.
Skipper Roberts is a doll created by Mattel in 1964 as Barbie's little sister. The first Skipper doll was 8 years old. She was designed as a response to requests for Barbie to have children. Mattel felt that a younger sister would be a better choice.
It's a jolly holiday. Walt Disney's Mary Poppins Carousel game was produced by Parker Brothers in 1964. 4 participants played as either Mary, Bert, Jane, or Michael, and rode through the countryside on merry-go-round horses. The winner was the first player to get on the carousel. Somehow the movie seems like more fun.
Mary Poppins was, and continues to be, immensely popular, and remains a source of inspiration for doll manufacturers. We've already seen Mattel's offering, using likenesses of Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke. In 1964, coinciding with the film's theatrical release, Horseman created a gift set based on outfits worn in the movie. The company also produced a giant Patti Playpal-sized 36-inch tall version of the doll. In Britain, Peggy Nisbet created versions of Mary Poppins, including a topsy-turvy doll.
The Mystery Date game by Milton Bradley was made in 1965. Players prepared to go on a mystery date, maybe a formal dance, a skiing trip, bowling, or a beach party. They had to be ready when their date arrived at the door. The mystery part being that the player didn't know which date would turn up when the door was open. The worst date to find behind the door was the dud. The first player to open the door and find the correct matching date, for which she was ready, was the lucky winner.
In 2021, Integrity Toys licensed the theme and graphics of Mystery Date to produce 4 Poppy Parker gift sets. Each set featured 2 dolls dressed in one of 4 pairs of date outfits based on the Mystery Date game. Keeping to the spirit of the game, the male doll was not revealed until the door in the gift set was opened. In an ingenious twist, a limited number of gift sets contained the dud instead of the appropriate date. However, Integrity renamed him the Stud and gave him butch bad boy appeal, complete with a wrench and grubby jeans. There was just a 1 in 16 chance that Poppy's date was the Stud. So collectors had to buy multiple sets to have a chance of getting this handsome, scrappy guy, dressed as if going to fix his motorbike. Clever marketing by Integrity Toys.
Ideal's Honey West game from 1965 is subtitled The Girl Private Eye Game. It was inspired by the ABC TV series starring Anne Francis, which aired from 1965 to 1966. The instructions explain that a crime has been committed, but where and by whom? It's up to you to locate the place, find the suspect, and prove them guilty. Place cards lead you to the place of the crime. Suspect cards lead you to the criminal. The box art appears to show a younger woman than Anne Francis in the series, more like teenage sleuth Nancy Drew, although still dishing out karate chops and carrying a revolver.
A Honey West doll was made by the A.C. Gilbert Company. The manufacturers excelled themselves by capturing the rare beauty of Anne Francis in vinyl. Oh dear. The Fairy Light Doll Company made another female sleuth, Emma Peel, in the likeness of Diana Rigg from the UK's The Avengers TV series. I imagine Ms. Rigg was happier with how her doll turned out than Anne Francis was with hers.
Not exactly fashion dolls, but cute nevertheless, Peepul's game was made by Whitman in 1967. This card-driven movement game for children was based on the 60s Peepul's line of books and dolls. As the box explains, excitement, anticipation, fun. Play your cards right and you will be the winner. So that's clear then. The Twiggy Game by Milton Bradley was made in 1967, inspired by the famous 60s British fashion model, Twiggy, whose real name was Leslie Hornby. The box lid declared that this was a game that makes every girl like Twiggy the queen of mod. The object of the game was to win points by covering the Twiggy picture with matching cards. Quite how covering a photo with cards makes you like Twiggy is not clear, but hey, I'll give it a go.
Twiggy was the first Mattel doll fashioned after a real person. The doll has the same slender mod body as Francie and Casey and can share their outfits. She also has the same head mold as Casey, but with heavier eye makeup.
The Barbie World of Fashion game by Mattel came out in 1967. It included a round-the-world 3D molded plastic board featuring images of twist and turn Barbie, Casey, Francie, and Skipper, and depicted actual mod outfits that were produced for the dolls. The object of play was to go around the world as a teen fashion model, earning money, modeling, being the first fashion model to buy kicky clothes, and meet new dates. The winner was the first to get back to London with the right number of clothes and dates. I think I once went on that vacation myself. In 1969, Celcio and Richter made the What Shall I Wear fashion game. The box cover showed models wearing an evening gown, a party dress, a daytime outfit, a tennis outfit, a farm or picnic outfit, and a bikini. The aim of the game was to be the first player to be properly dressed for 2 different invitations. On the board were 3 areas of fashion: daytime boutique, sports fair, and formal salon. Following on from this, in 1972, the company made the game What Shall I Be? The exciting game of career girls. Photos on the box lid range from a ballerina, a stewardess, and a teacher, through to a model, a nurse, and a beauty queen. Play was similar to the 1960s Barbie Keys to Fame game. However, to bring us up to date, according to the instructions, these important and popular career choices represent only a fraction of the job opportunities open to have. Today's woman can be found performing surgery, to designing spaceships, or a pilot rather than a stewardess. Roger, over and out.
Don't call me Roger.
Or a better photographer than a model. Remember that what you will be in the future depends only on what you want to be.
Right on, sister.
Mattel made the Miss Lively Livin Barbie game in 1970. Players took on the roles of Barbie, Francie, Christy, or PJ. Girls who know that Lively Livin is made up of different kinds of fun. The fun of being an attractive, charming, interesting gal, being with your family and showing your love, doing your best at school, being a good friend, being a good neighbor, and helping others. Along the game board, players earned charms for a bracelet, and when 2 of each were collected, you could enter the Lively Livin pageant. Whatever happened to becoming a surgeon, a pilot, or an astronaut? Well, here's some girl power, of sorts. Several versions of the Wonder Woman game were made by Hasbro, including these from 1967, 1973, and 1978. The object of the 1973 game, Wonder Woman Saves the Amazonians, was to rescue the captives of Amazonia and to become Wonder Woman. Play in all games was by means of a spinner. Appropriately enough, as in the 1970s television series, Wonder Woman's costume change was done with a quick spin, often accompanied by a flash of light or a burst of energy, transforming Linda Carter into her superhero attire.
This comic book character has long been a source of inspiration for doll manufacturers. Wonder Woman dolls were made by Mego in the 1970s. Robert Tonner was also a fan, and Mattel, of course. There have even been one-of-a-kind versions of RuPaul as the superhero, as well as offerings from other toy makers.
The object of 1974's Miss America pageant game was to compete with other players across the USA, to try for the highest points in swimsuit, talent, personality, and evening gown categories. The base of the camera centerpiece was used for the 5 finalists. Each would spin the camera to determine the winner and the runners-up. Hardly girl power, but you did get to spin the camera, I suppose. In 1972, Dennis Fisher made the Miss World game. The box lid proclaims all the glamour, tension, and excitement of the real Miss World contest. Miss World was the British counterpoint to Miss Universe. The aim of the game was to dress the 4 contestants and travel the world to win the coveted robe and crown of Miss World, as well as a world tour. Spaces on the board included poor makeup, lost false eyelashes, stumbled, and poor smile for the judges.
I imagine loss of self-respect may also have been on the agenda after being put through all of that. Down with the patriarchy.
And so, that's it. Here's a quick recap of some of the board games.
And the dolls we've seen today.
This is Tab Danforth.
With Latrina Flushing for the Bold Doll.
Thank you for joining us today.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
We hope to see you again soon.
We really do.
Do you always have to have the last word?
Yes, that's right.
Goodbye.
And goodbye from me too.